Now, this is the part that we promised, really special. So there's this movie that I absolutely love. It's called Up North, and it is a Nigerian movie which brought together some of the most talented people in the industry to create a masterpiece. Now, the story is simply captivating, and honestly, we just couldn't help but just find out all those little details of what went into creating that story. And to that, we have the one and only Editi Effiong, the brain behind the lovely script. I'm sorry. I mean, why are you looking at me like that? Did I not do a great job at that?
I don't know.
No, but it is a one and only script. You would have to agree with me on that.
I don't think anything like Up North has been made before in Nigeria.
Amazing. Yeah. So now, since nothing like Up North has been made, tell us about the script. What went into producing that, telling that story, writing that story?
It's a simple yet complicated story of a rich kid going up to the north, forced to go to the north to serve, and him finding himself, discovering himself, actually also helping a community grow. And it was born out of my trips through the north. I spent most of 2015 traveling Nigeria and spent a lot of time in the north. And it was sort of a cultural experience for me, a cultural journey, going through meeting new people. And I came out of that with a philosophy that people are just people. You know, there's a lot of misconception, misinformation about people across different tribes in Nigeria. And it's important that we start telling stories that unite us and you know, play on our strengths. If you want bad news, it's very easy. Pull up any newspaper, pull up any TV report. But it's important that we start telling our good stories, and that's why we decided to make Up North.
Amazing. Now, talking about telling the good story, when I was going to see the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to see? But let's just have an open mind. And it started, and slowly I saw myself getting more emotional as I watched it, because it was truly beautiful, from the animals to the free-spiritedness of every single person in that movie. So let's talk about the various elements. You know, the fact that he was, I don't want to spoil the movie for no one, but then let's just, without spoiling, talk about the various elements. You know, the girl-child area of the movie, the various professions that were very specific with regards to the various characters of the movie. Tell us about the specific elements that you ingrained in this particular script.
That's for a film that has, it's such a wide, big film. Okay, let me see. The north is really big, right? If you travel through the north, you find like it's big. The scale is just amazing, and it was important to capture that. So in trying to do that, we ended up creating the biggest film production ever made out of Nigeria. For example,
that's Up North.
Yeah, Up North. Yeah, and the Daba scene, for example, had over 25,000 people on the same set, and we had roughly 200 people in our crew and over 60 security people just trying to maintain order to shoot that particular scene. It was important that we show the North as it really is. I remember that when I was in Zamfara in 2015, we're just going through and we'd run out of water. I met this woman and we just asked for water. And she asked us to come into her hut, and she had, you could see she had nothing, but she offered us food. Right. It was very important to show like that kindness. And when I say people are just people, you go into Up North and you meet one of my favorite characters played by Said, Funky Malam. And he looks like a really stern father. Yes. But you come out at the end of the film, you realize he's just trying to protect his child. And every parent wants to protect their child. You know, it's what every parent does, whether they be Southerners, whether they be Northerners.
Yeah, it's a parent thing.
Yes.
Okay, but I really have to ask you though, you had Rahama Sadao in the movie, and we all remember Rahama Sadao, amazing Kannywood actress. However, when she had that video with Classic, it was this big issue, like, oh, she's banned from Kannywood movies and all of that. So casting her in that movie, how did you think, I mean, Kannywood in quotes, would react to it, seeing as it's not a Kannywood movie, it's a Nollywood movie, but then it has the northern, you know, elements to it. So how did you think they were going to react? Were you worried as, what if they think it's some type of rebellion, Or how do you feel Kannywood would have? Because they are huge. Oh my gosh, you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people in that industry. So how do you feel like they would have reacted?
Culture is very important, and it's important to be respectful of cultures, irrespective of where those cultures are. But I think it would have been an injustice to the north of Nigeria if we went on to create the biggest film ever made in northern Nigeria and not cast the biggest names in northern Nigeria.
Yeah, Rahama Sadao is really good.
Yes, and she did audition, and her audition was fantastic. Did? Yeah, it was fantastic. She was the best we had. And
I really have to ask though, honestly, you just said something that really shocked me. So basically, talking about your casting, I was speaking to you earlier about how I feel one of the things this movie promotes is opportunities, you know, creating opportunities for people. And I told you that one thing I wasn't very happy with was the casting, because I felt like, look, there are a lot of people who want opportunities. So, I mean, why not just cast a new face? Why cast faces we already know?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story of Halima 1 in the story.
That thing was so confusing, but let me let you keep speaking.
Yeah. So, Ruth Waziri.
Okay.
We went up to Bauchi trying to cast for those roles, and we went through maybe 100 young girls.
Wow.
And we could only cast one of the 4 we needed. And so I came back to Lagos. I was going out to send supplies to one of the charities I support, and I met this girl. She looked exactly like the person we were trying to cast. Random street in Lagos. And guess, I mean, I'm just watching like this girl looks exactly like what we're looking like, and she picks a phone call and starts speaking Hausa. Never met her before. So I approached her as nicely as I could and spoke to her about auditioning for the role, and she did. She is Halima 1. Every one of those young girls has never acted before.
Wow.
Yes. So in terms of casting, Ibrahim Suleiman is his first big
movie?
Yes. So it was important to have a good meld of young actors and veterans. KOK, for example.
I agree with you.
Yes.
So now, another part of the movie that I loved was the aspect of tourism. You know, literally, you would watch the movie and you would ask yourself, is this Nigeria? Is this the Bauchi that we see in the papers? Is it the Bauchi that they tell us about? Because the Bauchi we're being told about is not the Bauchi that we're seeing in the movie. So what was your aim with that, with regards to tourism, with regards to putting it out there? Why were you so, I mean, there were certain shots that I felt like they could have just bypassed this, like the animals running and those beautiful waterfalls and the kids jumping into the lake, those little details. Why did you feel like that was necessary to put that in the movie?
Why did we? It's important to go back to the question of why we shot in Bauchi. For its exact experience I had. I got there, I'm like, wow. I'd never been to Bauchi until 2015. I got there the first time I visited. I couldn't stop wondering what could be. How do you tell a story that shows people that this country is big, deep, and rich? And Bauchi gave us the best opportunity. And then the governor also, he was really fantastic. I met him, and when I told him what I was going to do with the film, he was like so excited. He gave us everything that we needed. Like, he was like, ask anything you want to do, anywhere you want to go. And he made it possible to make the film to a scale that we wanted to. But to your question, I have a video on my phone of kids jumping into that lake. And the day I saw it, I knew that when I do this film, I'm going to have it. Yeah. And I remember that with the giraffes, they're pretty shy, they're very shy.
But that was done with the drone, I'm guessing.
Yes, but drones are very loud and animals are very sensitive. So we had to go back a second time.
Look at that.
We had to go back a second time to do it right. We did it the first time, we had to go back a second time to do it right.
Okay, now just before I let you go, I really have to talk about the cast. You know, Banky W. I mean, a lot of people, you see, I feel Banky is a jack of all trades. You see Banky in front of the camera doing his thing, he's great. Next thing you know, he's in politics. He's saying, look, you know, such a stern, serious face. And you're like, wasn't that the dude that was just like performing all over the place? Then he leaves politics and he's in front of the camera He's almost crying. So tell us about working with Banky W.
He's the hardest person. Yeah, he's really, really hardworking. And he's a really serious person. I found that the process of making this film, he's very serious. It took me a while to convince him that this was a film to make. My bad was he hadn't read the script. So the moment he read the script, he was like, this is a story that needs to be told. I want to do it. And from that moment, he gave everything. You know, he had just recovered from surgery.
Okay.
The year before, had surgery the year before, and then he had to do this film. So he had just been given all clear to start like doing light exercises, and this script required for him to do a lot of hard exercising, to run, to roll on the floor. And I was worried. We hired a body double. Okay. And after first day of shoot, he says, I want to do this myself.
Wow.
And every time he had to run, I would run behind him, like just in case something happened. We had a medic on standby. He said he'll be fine. He'll try to be fine. And he went through the pain barrier every day. And what he always told me was the pain is bringing out the best performance. Let it be.
Wow.
You know, so he put his body on the line, and I'm really grateful.
Amazing. So now, we spoke about the Lionheart movie earlier. Chief Daddy is doing just as amazing. There's so many movies out there. So if you're supposed to place Up North, you know, on the scale of things with regards to how much successes various movies have gotten, how great would you say Up North is in terms of what it should be getting? Like, you'd be like, how great? How would you scale it? How would you put Up North?
Trick question. Every film is important. Chief Daddy is important for investment in the industry. People can see that Nigerian films can compete. Lionheart is very important for selling our stories to an international audience. Up North is very important. I don't think we can talk about uniting Nigerians without talking about the story of Up North. It's very important for us as Nigerians to see this picture, to know that it is, to see what is possible as Nigerians, how we can help build our communities. When I went out to tell the story, I just wanted to tell the story. I went out to see the North and decided it had to be told as a story. I've been tweeting and writing blogs about the North, and the audience is limited. Over almost 40,000 people have seen Up North in the last 10 days. 10 days. I really want to know, though. You know how with music they say a lot of times the producers are behind the scene. You only get to see the artist in the video. Whereas there's a producer, and without that producer, you wouldn't have that beat that you love so much. Would you say the same goes for movies? Whereas you only get to see the actors, the actresses, but the people, like the writers, never really get as much credit for the movies. Production alone took about maybe 200 people, post-production. For example, there's a young man you probably never heard of, Gray Jones Osai, who wrote the score for Up North that everyone is raving about. You know, he had never worked on a big film project before. It was his first time, and he did a great, amazing job. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So these are the people who make films great. Tokwe did a lot of work, worked really hard to make this happen. Everyone gave it their all. It was really hard making this film, especially out of the comfort zone of most of the guys who were on the project. Most of the crew came from Lagos. They'd never been up north before. But it was a lovely experience, wasn't it? It was in the end. It was in the end. Amazing. Amazing. Well, you see what? I definitely would probably check out that movie a second time, but it was amazing. Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us on Arise 360. We look forward to having you again with more lovely stories and more movies, right? Hope so. Oh, amazing.